So we're focusing on jobs and the recovery and the financial shape of the federal government this week. And the president gave his State of the Union and offered his ideas about how he thinks we can keep the recovery going. When you listen to it, what did you like and what do you think needs more emphasis?
Well, what I liked was the president's focus on the economy and jobs. I think that's exactly where our focus needs to be. He pointed out some areas of innovation and new technologies where jobs could be created in the energy sector. But I think that we've got to keep focused on job creation and deficit reduction. And it's going to take a lift from both sides. It's not going to be able to be done with cuts alone. We're going to have to look at our tax code, look at the revenue side as well as the expenditure side to make a real dent in this deficit, which is at record levels. It's over 10% of the GDP, the highest since World War II years, too high to sustain. And so I think the president's focus on job creation and deficit reduction are where we need to be.
Now, the Deficit Commission had some ideas, some very controversial. I'd like to think of it as the biggest roundup of sacred cows we've ever seen in this town. Everything was in there. But were there ideas in there that you think make sense that Congress should take a harder look at to try to get the deficit down?
Well, anything we do that's meaningful is going to be controversial because this is not going to be easy. I mean, the numbers are quite staggering and quite large. You know, over $1.3 trillion in annual deficits. We haven't seen those deficits in quite some time. And contrary to popular, myth that they were created by the recent spat in spending for the stimulus, they were actually created because of two foreign wars that were unpaid for, charged to the future credit card, and the Bush tax cuts. Now, I supported those tax cuts to some extent, but taking that much money out of the revenue side and not cutting spending commensurate with that is what really caused the tremendous gap that we're facing. So it's going to take both revenue raising and cutting substantially to close this gap and to get America back on a firm financial footing.
Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, very politically.
It's very tough.
Yeah, very tough. Are we at a crisis point where you can do it and politically it's okay, or I mean, how much? It seems like that.
Well, it's going to be very difficult to do. But I think whatever we do in Social Security, it should not be. We shouldn't start with Social Security. I mean, Social Security is not what's driving, this gap. Again, the three things that caused it were the Bush tax cuts that, basically started out as $1.2 trillion but grew, like Topsy with no commensurate reduction in spending. Those have to be looked at very hard. The revenue side needs to be looked at, and I think once that's done, then I think you can go to Social Security and say, we know you're not the primary driver of this gap, but you have to contribute, this program has to contribute, as well as Medicaid and other programs over the long run, not affecting anyone near-term retirement, but looking in the out years. And just some slight changes today could mean a great, much better solvency for the program and much stronger in the future. But I understand people that say, like Bernie Sanders, I understand perfectly. He said Social Security didn't cause this problem. Why are we looking to it to fix the problem? But I think sending a signal that America and the leaders of America are willing to take on some sacred cows, to make some of those changes, is an important signal to send. And again, I'm not saying put Social Security cuts first. I'm not saying it created the mess that we're in. But I am saying that it's going to take a combination of reductions in spending and freezing federal spending, as well as on the revenue side.